All righty, 140 episodes of the Designated Players podcast, and we're still kicking. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. We are finishing up deep dives today. If you don't know what this is, there are three different episodes you can watch to figure it out. Check
There are
out
more
part
than
one.
three. We did it last season too.
Wow, you are screaming at me. Stop chewing on your mic.
I'm not chewing on my mic.
Bro, you came in like.
I'm coming in hot.
So, as you can tell, Connor is here as well. Connor, how you doing?
I don't think you could have missed me based on what you were saying. Is my mic volume just too loud?
I think
Is
you
it
just
fine
got it.
now?
Yeah, you're better now.
Okay.
Great. Well, that woke everybody up. I hope everybody's ready to listen to a great episode. Um,
I'll fix it in the editing. Don't worry about it. Nobody's even gonna hear it.
yeah, unless they watch the YouTube video, which is blowing up, by the way. So make sure you go and check out our
Blowing
YouTube.
up.
We are posting all of our TikToks as well on YouTube, and they're getting equal, if not better, traction. So, go check it out. Make sure you're following us and leave us a comment. Say Connor's loud mic on the next video you see. That way we know you came from there. Um, yeah, it's another 7 teams. It's another team preview, deep dive, not so deep dive episode. Again, for those of you who haven't seen it, you can watch other episodes. But manager, last season's finish, predicted 11, best edition, biggest loss, breakout player, and one question for each team. Um, silly. We can't dive into any of that until we know exactly what type of scarf you're wearing today, Connor. What do you have for scarf of the week?
I kind of spoiled it for you because I said I was going to get it.
Yeah,
But
but the people
based on
don't.
the teams we have to cover today, I've got I gotta turn this light off when I do this. You can't see anything. Inter Miami scarf. A nice pink and black scarf. Really like the colors of it, honestly. Even if there's really not like much going on the scarf, but I do like I don't know, are these flamingos?
Yeah, or they're. I think they're herons. I think they're herons.
Herrings. Okay.
I had a feeling you were going to go either that or the same Quake scarf we both have. So I tried to
Yep.
mix it up and keep it with a
I
little
forgot to have
bit.
an RSL one too.
I see. I had a feeling you would forget, so I was glad you didn't. But I got the RSL scarf out.
I was gonna actually bust out the San Jose one, and then I swapped
I'm
it
really
last
glad you didn't. I like this RSL one. Like, you look on the back, the second side,
minute.
very, very detailed. Tons of stuff going on. It's the logo kind of just flip flopping all over the place. So big fan of that. Um,
Yeah. They got nice colors. Very royal
yeah,
colors.
yeah, for a team that needs to be doing better.
Spoiler alert.
Boom. um, let's just dive right into it. We're gonna start with everybody's favorite Californian team, San Jose. Luchi Gonzalez taking over in his first year after the team finished 14th in the West on 35 points. I've got them in a 4-2-3-1, shocker. With Daniel in goal, Tommy Thompson at right back, Mensa and Rodriguez in the middle because Nathan is injured, with Miguel Trauco on the left. I've got Gruezo and Ewell making a midfield two, and in front of them, Espinoza, Jamiro Montero, and Cade Cowell with Jabo in front of them.
That is incredible. We have the exact same team. The only difference is I kind of tweaked the formation a little bit. I just had the midfield sitting a little deeper. So I had like Montero in like an 8-10 role, and then Grazo and Jackson Ewell in like a 6-8 role.
Way, look at us. I want to know then what you think is their best edition of the window then.
Daniel. For me, I'll say it's kind of an easy one, even though I think they made a couple of other good moves as well. But I mean, this guy was getting 10 clean sheets a season for one of the best teams in Brazil. I mean, come on, that's a phenomenal get at a position where they needed to upgrade. So for me, he was easily their best addition.
Yeah, I had a split between him. I thought, I mean, well, we ran the numbers. Marcinkowski, statistically the worst goalkeeper in the league last year. Again, what did it have to do with him and what did it have to do with his back line? here or there. Um, but I would say that there's also an argument to be made for Jonathan Mensah. I know that Nathan was going to be very good and he's injured, but I mean that is one heck of a placement. Um, the amount of MLS experience, international experience, leadership, ability, the whole combination, I think he'll be a very, very good piece for them. Um, how good of a piece is still yet to be seen, but we'll talk about that later. Um, in terms of their biggest loss, again, for a team that finished dead last in the league or in the conference, is a loss really a loss? I picked Jan Grey Goose. I think there was potential there that he could have been a very, very good central midfielder for this crew, but it just didn't work out. 1,700 minutes last year at center mid, but again, I think they replaced him fine with Gruezo.
Yep, I also went with Jan Grigors. Um, kind of, I'm missing the old Minnesota days from him when he was like, he was up there for one of the better 6/8s in the league when he was with Minnesota.
Yeah, and now Minnesota's not good, and we love it.
Oh, spoilers again. Can you slow down? Like one team at a
I know
time. Come on.
we're not up there. We're not. I know. I know. I know. Talk to me about who you think is going to be a player to watch this year out of this entire group. Who do you think is the one you got to keep an eye on?
So I went with Nico Sarkiri. I don't know. Apologies
Okay,
if I butchered that, but I
nice.
think he's like a 17-year-old. I've got him in my depth chart right behind Jamiro Montero, whether he plays at that 8-10 or if he just plays as a straight up 10. I think he's got a shot for minutes this season. I think he can be the guy to rotate in with Jamiro Montero. And I mean, that's certainly not a bad guy to learn under as well.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Um, Mine was Oscar Asgren, the center back that was drafted last year. He only got about 3 games last year, but um, with the injuries that they've had and just the depth chart in general, I think you see him as center back 3 on the depth chart right now, over Tanner Beeson. Tanner Beeson might flex out wide, but I think um, you're going to see some good minutes from him. And I think I want to say he was a GA guy in 2022. Um, so I'm hoping that he can translate that to important minutes for this team because they desperately need somebody to step up.
Yeah, good shout.
My one question was Jabo's year last year a flash in the pan, or can he repeat his career year? Is this him breaking out again, or is this he had one really good year with 9 penalties and made and that's just a thing. I have no idea how many penalties he scored. Um, but was it one of those like, oh, the numbers just look better and he wasn't, you know, where he was at?
Fair. My question is this team ready to make the playoffs?
No,
Granted, if they change the playoff format, then I mean that's not exactly a very hard feat, but
I know. Um, yeah, that is next episode. We will be doing our standings predictions and our bold predictions. So, um, make sure you follow along for those because those will come out too. Um, Sorry, I'm just looking up the Jeremy Abobasi penalty number just to be sure. Last year, 15 goals, only 2 of them penalties. So, um, definitely, definitely going to be tougher to
no
repeat that than if they were like 9 penalties, right?
no Parami Popovasi over here.
No, not yet, not yet. Let's go on, move on to Charlotte. Um, Christian Latanzio, excuse me, in his second year after finishing ninth in the East on 42 points. Um, Talk to me about what shape you think they will line up in.
So I don't know if you would consider this more of like a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, but I've got Kalina in goal. I've got Mora at left back. Uh, with Caruso injured, I've got Malanda, and I didn't even know. I think this happened recently, but Bill Tuoloma
Yeah, it
joined the
happened
team.
Friday, yesterday,
Yep. So I've got him
or no,
sliding into
Thursday.
start.
Thursday.
I've got him and Malanda starting at center back. Um, right back was a little tough, but I went with Nathan Byrne. I think he was starting a couple of the games towards the end of last season. Midfield, I've got Ashley Westwood and Brant Bronico. And left wing, I've got Juzwiak, right wing, I've got Kerwin Vargas. Um, as the like I guess second striker or like cam, I've got Swiderski, and then up top at striker, I've got Enzo Capetti.
Interesting. I like how you fit both of them in there. I tried to make my shape based off of what they're comfortable playing with. So I left the 4-1-4-1 shape in there. So Kalina in goal, Nathan Byrne. I do have Tuiloma filling in for Corujo, but I've got Sobaczynski playing on the second center back spot. I think you see a rotation of the three of them until they can find one that'll be solid, and then more on the left. I got Westwood in that holding spot, and if he's injured, then Bronico would slide in there. But in that second four pack, I've got Juzwiak, Bronico, Santos, and Bender, and then I've got Capetti up top, and I have Swiderski on the bench right now. But I like your formation better. I don't think they're gonna leave one of them on the bench. I think they'll find a way to get them involved.
Yeah, I think so too. Some kind of like two striker or like striker second striker kind of thing, or even maybe they move Swiderski to like a cam or 10.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, is there really a competition or a conversation to be had for their best edition? Probably not, right?
No, I think it is kind of obvious.
Yeah, yeah. Enzo Capetti, record signing, big Argentinian career, looks set to light the world on fire. So we'll see how he comes in. But I want to know what your biggest loss on this team is.
Nobody on the list was jumping out to me as like a absolutely like team ruining loss, but I went with Daniel Rios. I think I think he had like 7 goals, 1 assist, something like that last season. So had somewhat of an impact, but I mean, obviously they replaced that position pretty well with Enzo Capetti.
Yeah, I think so too. For me, it was not by choice, but I think Anton Walks was set to have a really big role in this team this year with Corujo being hurt. Um, Super unfortunate. Rest in peace, of course, but um, that is my biggest loss of the year for them because I think he put like 1,700 minutes in as Corujo's partner, and he would have been center back one at
Yeah,
this
he probably
point
would
with
have been
him being
slated to
injured.
start.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so like I said, super sad story, super unfortunate. Um, Grace is trying to get my attention. Um, but yeah, talk to me about or actually no, I'll tell you that my breakout player to me or one to possibly watch is Hamadi Diop, the Clemson center back. They traded up to get him in the draft this year as a Generation Adidas signing. Um, I think with all the injuries going around and them trying to find out who's going to fit where, I think he can put his foot down and own that spot. So he could be a very important piece of the back line this season.
Yep. I went kind of based off my shape and who I have starting. I went with Kerwin Vargas on the right wing. He's 21 years old. I think he's listed as a striker on transfer market, but from what I was looking at, it looks like he was playing on the right wing. So I think this attack has potential to be very dangerous, and I think if he can get up to speed and have somewhat of a breakout year and support Swiderski and Enzo Capetti, they're going to cause a lot of problems for the defenses.
Nope, 100% agree. I like that too. Two players to keep an eye on. What's your one question for this team?
So my question for this team, will the fan hype around Charlotte continue this season, or will it start to slowly die down?
Ooh, I like that.
Obviously,
We
year
we
one has like a special extra level of hype. Is it going to continue, or is it going to kind of start to fall into like that middle level MLS fanship?
yeah. I mean, we know and we've talked about it before that your trend is you're always going to lose supporters. That's just the way sports work. You get the hype and then you're down. The question is going to be how far down does it fall? For me, what's the realistic ceiling for this squad in 2023? It's year two. They've done a lot of moving around. What is a successful year this year for them? Is it playoffs? Is it top four? Is it winning everything? What do they call a success? All right, so then let's move on. Let's go Inter Miami. Phil Neville entering year 3 after finishing 6th in the East, making the playoffs on 48 points. I've got them in a 4-3-1-2. I think that's the best shape that they will line up in. I've got Calendar in goal, Yedlin, Krives. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher this.
Yeah, that's a tough one, huh?
Krive
The
Tasov.
new you,
Yikes.
yeah.
Amambika and Negri in the back four. The three pack in front of them, I've got Duke, I got Gregory, and I got Mota. In front of him, I've got Pizarro on his way back from loan, and then I've got Martinez and Campagna in a two pack.
I think we have essentially the same thing. My formation I think is basically the same. I basically just called it a little different. I have them in the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond, kind of similar to like how Philly line up. I got Calendar in goal, Yedlin at right back, Mabika and Kriftstov, something like that, at center back.
Kristov.
Franco Negri at left back. It's close enough. I haven't brushed up on my Ukrainian in a while. Gregory, Mota, and Duke in the midfield. Pizarro ahead of them. Then Josef and Leo Campagna up top.
There you go. Um, best edition.
Josef for the price that they got him at. I mean, I know that they have a ton of strikers right now that are arguably starting quality, but to add someone who knows the league really well, is extremely successful in the league, and to get him for free and on a non-DP deal is phenomenal business from them.
Yep, I like that. Biggest loss. I've got Damian Lowe. I think he was their best defender last year, and they replaced him, and I'm sure he'll do fine. Mister, I can't pronounce his name, Kristov. Um, but you can't teach MLS experience. It's a different game. There's always going to be a learning curve. Um, so I think they'll feel his loss the most early.
Yeah, that's
And
what I
that's
had
it.
too. I had Damian Lowe.
Cool. All right, talk to me about a player you are watching.
It's Bryce Duke's season, baby. I'm excited for him to get some consistent starting time in the midfield. Where did he come from before this? Was he an LAFC guy?
Yes, I believe so.
I'm excited. I think he's got good potential. He's got an opportunity to go in here and play with a team that's going to be vying for the playoffs again. I like his chances to have a breakout year this year. Also, side note, is he related at all to Cameron Duke?
Don't think so. I'm double checking because I thought the same thing. Um, yeah, there's nothing here that says he's related to them, and Transfer Market's really good at that. So
I have a feeling I know who you're picking for your breakout player.
who do you think I'm picking?
I think you're going back to your Kentucky roots.
I'm not. I thought about it. I thought about it. This
Oh,
one isn't a
boo.
breakout. This one's not a breakout player. It's a player to watch on his return. I've got Rodolfo Pizarro here. Um, coming back on into a team from the loan spell that he was on. He was really bad in his first years. He had a bad attitude. He didn't want to be here. Now I think he's surrounded with much better players that fit his play style, and I'm really really excited for the contribution he can give to this team. But the one question I have is Josef and Leo going to work together? Is that partnership going to work? Um, Josef always played as a one striker guy in Atlanta. Leo was used to playing off of Gonzalo, who's really more of a withdrawn guy anyway. So when they go to two, will they try to make it work with two, or are they going to go with one and sit one?
There's too many strikers on this team. You have to play two strikers somehow. I think honestly, I think it'll be okay. I feel like worst case scenario, if Leo just played a bit like Almiron did, I mean that worked fine with Josef. Obviously, Leo will start in a higher up position than Almiron did, but I feel like they can make it work. My question is, where in the playoffs is Miami finishing? And yes, I am saying they're 100% in the playoffs. Maybe not
Awful.
100%, 99.99%.
Trying to think of where I have them. I know where I have them.
But don't
Okay.
spoil it. Don't spoil it.
No, no, no spoilers. No spoilers. Then let's move on then, because we both asked our question.
Yeah. Favorite team.
What's up, Minnesota? How we doing? I am going to talk about Adrian Heath going into his 7th year after finishing 6th in the West, barely scraping into the playoffs. But they want 48 points, but I want to know what do you think they're going to line up in this year?
So I think I made a shape that does not include Reynoso right now. I don't know if you have more information on whether or not he's going to be playing with them this year, but I made the starting 11 based on that he's not here. Um, but obviously, if he does play for them, that will change things. He will slide right into the starting lineup. But I've gone with a 4-3-3, and I've gone with Dane St. Clair in goal, DJ Taylor at right back. I've got Miguel Tapias and Michael Boxall at center back, Kamar Lawrence at left back, midfield three of Robin Lurd, Will Trapp, and Hassani Dotson. And then the attack up top, I got Franco Fragapane, Luis Amaria, and Mender Garcia on the right.
Interesting. Okay. I left Reynoso in, assuming he would get back. I don't have anything more at the moment. He didn't show up to preseason. I believe it's personal stuff. I don't think he's trying to force a move out, to my knowledge, but
Like I think he got suspended because
yeah,
he
well,
didn't
he got suspended
come.
because he didn't show up, but it's not like he didn't show up because he's trying to get himself sold.
Well, I mean,
Um,
is he suspended like for the like the start of the season, or like suspended for the rest of the preseason?
no, I think it's just suspended, like they're not paying him until he shows up.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what the report that I've read sounds like. Coach Adrian
I
Heath
will.
says
Or sorry,
Reynoso's been
before you jump into your formation, I'll caveat it by saying that if I were to put Reynoso in, I would probably flip this to just be like a 4-2-3-1, drop one of the midfielders, and then just play Reynoso as a 10 in front of them.
Yep, that's what I've got him in, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Adrian Heath said Reynoso is dealing with personal matters, didn't specify a timeline for his return, and Minnesota didn't share anything else either. So it doesn't sound like he's trying to force himself out. It sounds like something's happening, and he's just uh, taking his time to deal with it. So I've got him in a 4-2-3-1, assuming he will be back. Um, St. Clair and goal, Valentin, Boxall, Tapias, and Lawrence, Trapp and Arriaga with Fragapane, Reynoso, and Lod with Amaria up top. Their best addition, I'll give it to Valent. Excuse me, I'll give it to Valentin here. He's always been a very good right back. I don't think his level drops in Minnesota, so I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah, this is another team that I didn't realize really didn't have a great window. They added a lot of players, but I don't think they really added anybody that's going to change this team that much. I picked Joseph Rosales. I think adds some good depth to the midfield, and in the way that I have them in right now with three midfielders, I think that'll end up being somewhat important to be able to rotate in there.
Yeah, who's their biggest loss?
I said Tyler Miller, even though I know him and Dane kind of switch back and forth a lot, so it's not necessarily that they're going to be in a tough spot at the goalkeeper position, but I think he was probably their best player that they lost in this offseason.
Yeah, for me, it's Azeel Jackson, right? He was one of the most promising players in USL last year. He was going to make a major impact if they could keep him. They ended up shipping him out to St. Louis, and we'll see how he does there. But um, I think he could have been very, very good this year for Minnesota. And I think while it's not a big loss based off of what he did for them last year, it's a big loss on the potential of what could have been. For me, player to watch, breakout player, Miguel Tapias, the 26-year-old center back. Coming in, I'm assuming he'll take a starting spot based off of his level. Um, and I think he'll definitely be a good difference maker back there. They've been kind of up in the air with center backs for a while, so I think he'll be successful.
My one to watch. I've got Hassani Dotson. I'm excited to see him come back this year. I think he had some. I forget exactly what the situation was, but I think he was out for a lot of last year with an injury. I don't remember if it was just like one injury that took him out. Um, I kind of feel like it was, but excited to see him come back in because I think he was showing like good potential before that injury happened to kind of break through with Minnesota and I would almost say from like a USMNT perspective, kind of put him in the same conversation with like maybe like an Eric Williamson type level, like almost on the cusp of kind of being a backup midfielder for the men's national team if things kept moving in that direction. So I'm curious to see what he can bring to the table this season.
Nice. I like that. Ask your question then.
So my question is centered around Reynoso. If he doesn't come back, can this team still be successful?
My question: If is Reynoso coming back, and what does it look like if he doesn't? Good job.
I think that's going to be everybody's question, to be honest. I
I
think it's
would
a pretty
agree.
obvious one.
Um, let's move on to new look DC United. Wayne Rooney technically going into
Here we
his
go.
second year. Uh, after winning the wooden spoon last year. What? Actually, no, it's my turn. The shape that I have them in 4-2-3-1. I think Tyler Miller gets a start and goal. I think he beats out Alex Bono. Um, I see a back four: Ruan, Pines, Williams, and Jahaze. I've got a midfield two of Click and Morrison as holding midfielders, with Pedro Santos, Taxi Fontes as a cam, and Rodriguez on the left with Benteke up top.
Sorry, and the one position I missed. Who did you have in the midfield with Click?
Morrison, Ravel.
Gotcha. I have the same formation, almost the exact same team. Um, I've got Tyler Miller in goal. I've got Ruan, Donovan Pines, Steve Birnbaum, Mohamed Jahiz or Jahaz. I think I typoed his name in here, so I'm not even gonna pretend like I pronounced that right. Uh, I've got Click and Durkin in the midfield, and then I've got Martinez, Taxi Fontas, Pedro Santos, and then Christian Benteke up top.
Interesting. Okay, talk to me about your biggest addition for them.
Uh, so my, actually, hold on. If I'm gonna talk about him, I'm gonna try and say his name right. Make sure that I didn't typo it. Give me one sec. Okay. So for me, it was Mohamed Jazz. Apologies. At left back, I think when I was looking at his numbers, I want to say he came from Sweden, and
Yeah,
I think his numbers looked pretty strong there. Um, so I think he's only 25. I think this is like the direction of signing that I kind of wished that DC went with, like more across the board. Someone who can obviously step in and bring like starting quality to this team, but is still young enough that he can give them a few years and potentially even grow into it even a bit more. But like I said, I think the biggest drive factor for me was I think he had really strong numbers in the attack while still having like maybe 7 or 8 clean sheets last year, and in like a good Swedish league too.
nice. Yeah, I went the other side of that back line. I went with Ruan. I mean, he was in both of our top five right backs list at least the last 2 years when we did it, and I think he'll make a really good impact for this team. I'm hoping at least. I don't know. I'm curious as to Rooney's system, but we can talk about that more in depth later. Their biggest loss, I'm going to go Bill Hamid for the memes, but I don't think anybody from this team being lost is really a big deal.
I went with Ola Kamara. I think Ola Kamara has been good for them over the years, even in the past. And again, in the last couple of seasons, I think even if it is a lot of penalties, he is a consistent goal scorer for them. And I feel like the is still out on Benteke right now. So
Yeah, I'm curious to see his return this year. But I'm sure if anybody can get the most out of it, it'll be Rooney. So, um, talk to me about their breakout player.
I went with Christian Fletcher. I think he's another
Ooh,
17-year-old. He is on the left wing. I've got him on at left wing two right now, right behind Martin Rodriguez. So I think it looks like they're not super deep on the wings. So considering he's one of the few that was listed at least by transfer market, I think he's got a shot to get minutes and slide in there and get some time on the wings.
nice. I went with Theodore Cudi Pietro. I think that I don't know if he gets into this team depending on how they line up, because I think that's pretty much Taxi's spot. But he could show out as a very very good potential attacking midfield player. I've heard lots of really good things about him. There's a really good like report out on him saying that he's almost ready to make that jump. So I'm hoping this might be the year. At least he can get 700, 800 minutes. I'm not talking, 3,000 minutes, but give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. For me,
Nice.
the question's pretty simple. Can this team put all the pieces together by the time it comes to make a playoff run? You got tons of new options, lots of time to figure things out, but eventually you have to get a starting 11, stick with it, and go. So, how long is it going to take to find that 11? That's my question.
Nice. My question, based on the guys that Rooney brought in this last window, is this team rebuilding or are they trying to win now?
Ooh, that kind of piggybacks off of our 136 episode because I was just editing TikToks and clips for that, and I remember you talking about win now versus preparing for the future. We had a good conversation about that. Check that out if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, episode 136 or YouTube Shorts. Um, let's move on. Let's go to Orlando. Oscar Pereja, in his fourth year at Orlando, finished seventh in the East last year, just barely snuck into the playoffs. Talk to me about the shape you think that they'll come out
Groundbreaking stuff here. Got him in a
in.
4-2-3-1.
Whoa.
I've got Pedro Gallese in goal. I got Kyle Smith at right back. I've got Janssen and Antonio Carlos at center back. Rafael Santos at left back. I've got Cesar Arujo and Wilder Cartagena at midfield. I've got Martin Ojeda at left wing. Mauricio Pereira at cam. Facundo Torres on the right. And then I've got Erkin Kara up top.
I believe we're very similar. I got Gallese in the back with um, Kyle Smith, Antonio Carlos, Janssen, and Santos in a back four. I've got Araujo and Cartagena in the midfield too, with Torres, Pereira, and Ojeda and Carr up top. So, um, to me, their best addition. I'm really, really excited to watch Ojeda play. I think he makes this attack very, very fun. I think that they're going to score a butt ton of goals this year.
Yeah, I went with Ojeda as well. I think he's like that final piece of the puzzle, and that attacking four is lethal, like arguably best in the league.
Agreed. What about you?
Ojeda, just like I just said.
Did you? Sorry, I'm getting updates on the clips that are being posted, so I'm
Why don't you
half
put
here.
priorities? The podcast that you're
Qu-
recording right
quiet
now
down,
is the
quiet down,
priority.
mister. I can't record. I need to eat.
Oh, how dare I try to eat?
Um, give me your biggest loss then.
I went with Jao Matinho. Mainly considering at the time when they lost Jao Matinho, they had, I think, 0 left backs. Obviously, they brought in a couple now to replace him, but I think considering how thin that position was while he was here, it was definitely going to be a big question mark as to what it was going to look like with him gone.
Yeah, funny enough, that's actually also my biggest loss. Um, He was always one of the best attacking fullbacks in the league based off stats, based off of watching him play. So definitely going to feel that loss, but um, there is some players to watch here, and I think for me, the one I'm watching is Shaq Muhammad, the first round draft pick out of Duke. I don't know if he breaks into the starting 11, but I think he could be a bench player that'll come in and give good minutes. So one to watch over there for sure, especially with the rotation of the games that they'll be having. I think he'll get some time.
Yep. I've gone for Michael Halliday at right back. I've got him at right back 2 right now behind Kyle Smith. I think he's probably their next in line to slide in there and play right back for them in the back line. Smith is 31 at this point. Halliday's 20. Obviously, 31, he's still got a number of years ahead of him, but I think with how many games they have, he has a good opportunity to get some good minutes and maybe start to transition and take that starting right back spot.
Nice. All right, we'll ask one question about him then.
Can this team win Supporter Shield? They've got some tough competition. Philly, Austin, LAFC are going to obviously be up in the running again. Did their offseason give them enough firepower to compete with those guys?
For me, it's so many games, so many players. How is Pareja going to handle rotations and keeping players happy, especially if they start losing? Right? When you're not playing and a team is losing, you expect to be rotated. That's a very tough job for a coach, and that's something I'm curious as to how he will handle that.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good question.
Shall we get to our last team? I don't think we missed any. Good for us.
Nope. Obviously, I think you've said it in one of the other parts, but yeah, we're gonna have a whole other separate episode for St. Louis, so
Correct.
we're
A
not gonna cover
whole
St. Louis
full
in these
St.
deep
Louis
dives.
episode. So if you haven't heard them, no stress. We'll get there. Maybe like week two
Yeah,
or
you
three.
get your own special episode.
Yeah. How
You don't
cool
have to
is that?
share it with a bunch of other teams.
Yeah, we get to do a real deep dive on that one. All right, so we got to finish with our boys in Utah. Real Salt Lake. Paulo Mastroeni enters his second year after making the playoffs, seventh in the West, 47 points. I've got them in a 4-3-3 with Zach McMath in goal, Brody, Glad, Silva, and Oviedo in the back four, Ruiz, Krylak, if he's healthy, Ojeda if he's not, and Luna in a midfield three, or yeah, in that midfield three pack. And then Gomez, Anderson, Julio, and Severino in the front three.
Nice. I would actually say a, a few differences. I've got them in a
Ew.
4-4-2. I've got McMath in goal, Andrew Brody at right back, Silva and Glad at center back, and Oviedo at left back. I've got Justin Merrim on the left. I've got Ojeda and Pablo Ruiz in the midfield, and then Carlos Andres Gomez on the right. And then I've got Demir Krylak and Jefferson Savarino up top.
Interesting. Talk to me about their best addition.
I went with Carlos Andres Gomez. I think based on the positions or the formation that I set up, I like that he can slide in here on the right. I think he can add good attack to the team. But one of the things that I like the most is it allows Jefferson Savarino to go up and play as like a maybe a false nine or just an out and out striker. But I think considering Savarino had really good output last season, I think it would be better for him to play as a striker than as opposed to maybe deeper on the right in the formation that I have them set up in.
Nice. I like it. I also have Gomez, and it was really because there's not much else to choose from.
That's
But
fair.
gives them another young attacking option. I think we both probably agree on their biggest loss as well, being Aaron Herrera, top five right back over the last couple of years. Um, there's not much else to say on that.
Yeah, I also went with Aaron Herrera.
Very nice. Very nice. Um, talk to me about a breakout player. I think we might have the same one.
I don't know about that one.
Ew.
Considering I don't have Diego Luna starting in my team, but
I hate you.
I I think I would love to get him in here. But my breakout player or one to watch, I went with Bodie Hidalgo. First of all, love the name. Bodie Hidalgo is such a great name. Um, but I think with Aaron Herrera gone at right back, you kind of have a makeshift right back in Andrew Brody because I think he was listed as a left back. So it seems like they kind of shifted him over to kind of fill that hole. But I think Bodie Hidalgo definitely has some potential to get some game time there and possibly slide him. Maybe he's the next Aaron Herrera for them. But I like the opportunity for him this season.
The answer is Diego Luna. That's a terrible pick. You're awful.
You're a terrible
19 years
pick.
old. How many offers did this dude have to go play other places before he signed with RSL? Turned them all down to play here,
But
and
it's
now he's getting
RSL.
stop it. He's coming out. He's getting ready to break out, and I'm very excited. No spoiler alerts, but he may be mentioned in my uh, bold predictions. So make sure you stick around
Bold
for.
prediction. Andrew has him winning MVP.
Make sure you follow and subscribe for when next episode goes live. You can hear what we're talking about. Um, I'll ask one question. It's going to be Damir Krylak. When he comes back from injury, is he going to be 100%? Is there going to be a drop off, and how big will that drop off be? Because that is going to be a major part of how good this team is.
Yep. He is a super important player for them for sure. My question for them is this team stuck in mediocrity? They're like, oh, I feel like every season outside of I think they had one season recently where they finished like third, if I remember right. It was kind of really
Mm-hmm.
odd. But I feel like this team is always like just on the cusp of making the playoffs every season. So are they stuck in that zone?
I love it. Okay, well that we will wrap up as episode 140 of the Designated Players Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you comment on wherever we post these things. Let us know your thoughts. We posted something about grading off Austin's transfer window. We both gave them an A minus and a B plus, and it has 2 likes and 15 dislikes. So love it, but don't get it. But keep interacting with us. Let's chat about MLS, man. Let's do it. Make sure you're following us everywhere you get your podcasts, so you know when episode 141 goes live, where we're doing all of our predictions, standings, final awards, bold predictions, the whole lot. And then make sure you're following us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok, so that you can check all of our videos out. Um, that's about all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we will catch you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.